Hello everyone, Vincent Teo from HDTV Test here. I'm a TV reviewer and professional calibrator. At last, by semi-popular request, here's our review of the Panasonic GX800 LED LCD TV. Our test sample is the 50-inch model which retails for £699. The front screen is very reflective, almost like a mirror. If I owned this television and was watching movies in a dark room, I would make sure not to wear a white shirt to avoid spoiling the picture on screen. The panel sits on a central stand which thankfully doesn't take up much space, although build quality is so-so and a bit plasticky. The connections are located on the left rear of the display, including 3 full bandwidth HDMI 2.0B ports whose only HDMI 2.1 feature supported is ALLM or Auto Low Latency mode. The supplied remote control is a familiar Panasonic one with black fascia and sticky tactile feedback from the rubber keys. Panasonic's My Home Screen Smart TV platform, now in its 4th iteration, is snappy and easy to use, providing access to the usual streaming apps of Netflix, Amazon Prime Video and YouTube, not to mention Freeview Play, which includes all the major UK catch-up TV apps such as BBC iPlayer. Before I move on to talk about picture quality, I would like to thank Richard Sounds Manchester for sponsoring this video. If you are thinking about getting a new television, even if it's not the Panasonic GX800, please support this channel by considering buying from them. Call 0333 900 0086, mention HDTV Test, and you will receive great price and service. Right. The Panasonic GX800 uses a VA-type LCD panel likely from Innolux, which translates to deep blacks by LED LCD standards, but narrower viewing angles than IPS panels. Black level measured 0.03 nits on a 4x4 ANSI checkerboard pattern once peak white was aligned to 120 nits. The GX800 is edge-lit, with all the LED modules found along the bottom border of the screen. There's barely any local dimming or pseudo-local dimming on the TV at all, operating only in left and right halves. As such, we didn't really see any haloing or blooming artifacts, although if adaptive backlight control was cranked up to max, then backlight fluctuations would become more obvious, so we prefer to use a less aggressive setting. The Panasonic GX800 uses PFS phosphor in its LED light source to achieve white color gamut, delivering a DCI-P3 coverage of 96% UV. Grayscale accuracy measured below delta error 3 once we switched to the most accurate True Cinema picture mode from factory default, which is particularly important since it's unlikely owners would get their TVs professionally calibrated at this price point. Color tracking was not as accurate as the Japanese brand's OLED TVs, but the picture still looked natural with a palpable sense of largeness. The main weakness of the Panasonic GX800 LED LCD TV is its 60Hz panel, which means slow panning shots in 24 frames per second movies would exhibit telltale telecinic judder, requiring at least intelligent frame creation mid to smooth things out. But unfortunately, this would also introduce soap opera effect or SOE. Also, motion resolution is stuck at the sample and hold baseline of 300 lines, and can be increased neither by intelligent frame creation even at the max setting, nor by clear motion, which is Panasonic's name for backlight scanning on the GX800. Screen uniformity was about what we would expect from a non-high-end edge-lit LED LCD, with milder touchscreen effect or DSE on full-field gray slides, and slightly darker left and right edges. Upscaling was very good, retrieving sharp detail from standard definition content, albeit with some ringing and overshoot. In terms of video mode deinterlacing, the GX800 didn't suppress jaggies as well as the competition, and interestingly, the pure direct modes were grayed out on our review unit, preventing us from obtaining full chroma bandwidth. For HDR, peak brightness measured 340 nits both on a 10% window and full field after calibration. While the Panasonic GX800 supports both Dolby Vision and also HDR10 Plus dynamic metadata formats to provide superior tone mapping precision on a scene-by-scene or even frame-by-frame basis, in our opinion, the killer feature on the television is the dynamic HDR effect function. This works similarly to the HDR optimizer feature I've unreservedly praised on the Panasonic UB9000 4K Blu-ray player, which is a form of dynamic tone mapping that seeks to retain specular highlight detail and color saturation in HDR10 static metadata content without drastically affecting the overall APL of the scene. The effect is a lot more obvious than that seen on Panasonic's GZ series of OLED televisions, and I simply cannot overstate how impressive the result is, allowing the GX800 to deliver richer HDR with less clipping, even within the limited peak brightness range of 340 nits. Of course, the HDR presentation won't come close to an OLED or high peak brightness full array local dimming LED LCD, but it is significantly better than any other non-high-end H-lit LED LCD without dynamic tone mapping. Furthermore, probably because of different video processing chipset used, the Panasonic GX800 did not exhibit the 24Hz HDR frame skipping issue, or the high luminance polarization artifacts we saw on the company's 2019 OLEDs. With game mode enabled, input lag came in at below 15 milliseconds in both 1080p SDR and 4K HDR modes, which is fantastically responsive, matching what LG and Samsung have to offer this year. The GX800 supports ALLM or Auto Low Latency mode, but not VRR. To sum up, the Panasonic GX800 is the TV to beat at this affordable price point, thanks to 1. Accurate grayscale and natural colors out of the box in the True Cinema picture mode. 2. Support for both Dolby Vision and HDR10 Plus dynamic metadata formats. 3. Excellent dynamic tone mapping to preserve specular highlight detail and color richness in HDR10 content. And 4. Very low input lag that's up there with the very best. Of course, in an ideal world, we would have liked to see a 120Hz panel for better motion, higher peak brightness for greater HDR impact, full array local dimming backlighting with more zones, and maybe one more HDMI port to make it a total of 4. But any of these upgrades would increase the price, and by the time all these features are implemented, you might as well wait for a 48-inch OLED, which is confirmed to be coming next year, although I'm still not sure which brands will carry it. Because of the picture quality considering its price and also the competition, the Panasonic TX-50GX800B receives our highly recommended award. If you have found this video useful, please click the like button and subscribe to the HDTV Test YouTube channel for more videos like this. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.